We want to inspire you to be innovative, just as we're inspired to bring you innovative technology.
I just come out like, AI, data, AI, yeah.
Please welcome Chief Operating Officer Gavin Day.
All right, good morning, SAS Innovate. How are we doing? All right, that was so-so. That video felt like my day yesterday. It was like me and fast forward, running from one thing to the next. But you know, we're energized to be here. And whether you're here in Orlando, watching online around the world, you know, we're pumped up, we're energized. And for me, it's because I'm in the same room with our employees and our brightest minds from SAS, along with our customers, our partners, our academia. I mean, all of us are here to learn about the power of SAS, what we're doing now and where we're going next. And there's a buzz that was here all week from this sense of collaboration. You know, as someone who loves this company and loves this industry, my excitement level today is really high because we have something really special coming. A conversation between two tech titans. Our CEO, Dr. Jim Goodnight, and Microsoft CEO, Satya Nadella. My name is Gavin Day, as they said. I think I'm the luckiest guy at SAS because I spend each and every day working with all of you and your organizations. I talk with customers, prospects, the media, the bankers, the industry analysts, pretty much anybody that cares or is associated with the story of SAS. All of you tell me the good. Many of you have taken the opportunity this week to tell me where we can improve. I appreciate that. I do like good news, so you can feel free to share that with me if you see me in the hallway. But you know, in a leadership position at SAS, I love it because all of the information that you guys give us, it acts as data, and it tells us how we can make better decisions to support you. Now, we know making decisions is hard. There's a huge sense of responsibility that comes with making decisions for your organizations. It can be exhilarating, right, to solve the problem that you've been working on so hard, but there's also sometimes a fear of the unknown. Especially right now, there's a lot of things going on in the world and with our economies, and these are really volatile and uncertain times, perhaps the most volatile we've faced in our career. Look around. The good news is you're not alone. Our mission at SAS is to help every one of you make confident, transparent, and trusted decisions that you can stand on for the benefit of your organizations, your customers, or the communities that you serve. This is not new territory for SAS. Being your trusted partner and advisor is something we've done for almost 5 decades. We've seen everything. So we're here to help you through anything, especially in the moments when we know market forces are working with you and against you. As today progresses, we're going to show you why SAS is the market leader in decisioning, and we're poised to help you through the agentic AI revolution. You heard us just talk about partners earlier. Our partners are force multipliers in this effort, and right now there's no greater example than Microsoft. Together, SAS and Microsoft, we're lowering the barrier to entry to AI and analytics to make it easier for everyone to make decisions faster. You could almost say that SAS and Microsoft have grown up together. Both companies are celebrating their 50th birthday soon, and we've helped shape and reshape industries around the world. It's hard to believe, but this summer marks 5 years of our strategic partnership. And our relationship continues to grow through exciting innovations like Decision Builder on Microsoft Fabric and SAS via Workbench on Microsoft Azure. Our joint commitment is to push the limits of what's possible to drive the best decisions and the best outcomes for you, our customers, and our partners. And that starts at the top with 2 generational leaders. All right, it's my pleasure to invite you to take a seat, listen to an amazing conversation with Jim Goodnight and Satya Nadella to discuss where we've been and where we're going next.
Hello, Satya. Nice to see you again. Thank you for joining us at SAS Innovate.
Thank you so much, Jim. It's such a pleasure. Thank you for the partnership. I'm really excited to be with you.
Well, we're seeing an impressive transformation in both technology and the way businesses are adapting to the possibilities. What is your view on how AI is changing the way people work?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, Jim, when I look out and see the progress that's being made. I mean, if you sort of think about the underlying force that has powered a lot of our technology over the decades has been Moore's Law. Interestingly enough, there was all this talk about Moore's Law ending, except I think Moore's Law is essentially on a hyperdrive. If I look at what's happening with these models and the models' capabilities, both the pre-training scaling laws and test time compute scaling laws are just creating more and more powerful models now with even reasoning capabilities. And of course, the real trick is to be able to parlay that advance in model capability into actual useful products. And if I look at any products that you are building or products like GitHub Copilot or M365 Copilot, the evolution from what we were doing, let's say even a year ago, a year and a half ago, which was mostly code completions or I can complete an email, right, or composition of a poem or what have you, to then ask questions and get responses that are grounded, whether it's on the web or enterprise data. And then now, of course, we are able to assign full tasks to essentially digital colleagues. So we've got these 3 phases all now in action in any product which is an AI product we're using. So that's the exciting thing. It's pretty real. It's changing how I work, the workflow around me, the work artifacts I create. So I think that that's the exciting news. There's power and the ever-increasing capability and the reduction in prices, but the more interesting thing is the product building around it.
That's right. The scale of data involved has also increased at an incredible speed. And the amount of information companies have to manage nowadays must be met with the technology that can handle the complexity and scale of these workloads. Many people think generative AI is the answer to everything, but I noticed in a recent interview that you said that large language models alone are insufficient. Well, we fully agree with you, and our customers feel the same. Where do you think we are on the maturity curve with data and AI, and how can leaders be sure they're not left behind?
No, I think that what you sort of have been always saying to me is sort of so key, which is it's not about generative AI that takes everything and replaces everything. In some sense, generative AI, for example, can be used to create a plan, but the execution of the plan can be done with a lot of deterministic workflows or ML models and statistical models that we have an ability to guarantee the results on. So that's where I think that a lot of the partnership that we're doing, whether it is about bringing your applications, your workloads to Fabric, to Azure Marketplace, making it available for our customers to be able to integrate all of these products, I think is absolutely correct. But I would say, in terms of maturity, what I would say is getting people to starting to use these products every day in their workflow, and then building products using the platform capabilities that bring together the best of what we have done and what is going to happen, I think is the most critical thing.
These are great points, and we know that many of our customers have complex workflows that require a full spectrum of AI capabilities beyond generative AI. That's why I'm excited about our co-innovation with Microsoft, like SAS Decision Builder on Microsoft Fabric, which is now in public preview, and VIA Workbench on Azure Marketplace. And we're already getting positive feedback from customers about VIA Copilot. We appreciate all of the work that your teams at Microsoft have put into making these innovations successful. What excites you about these solutions?
No, these are fantastic examples of everything that we've been talking about, Jim. So for example, I think this idea of bringing the SAS Decision Builder to Fabric. I mean, that is so critical because now you have some of the best sort of things that you've done around decision making close to the data, and that I think is a breakthrough. What you're doing by putting even your solutions into the marketplace, I think are going to get us more access to customers jointly, remove some of the friction, especially around your agentic AI tech. Being part of the Fabric ecosystem. And the Workbench, some of the deployment data I've seen is it takes something that used to take to deploy 8 hours, now being done in 30 minutes. So it's fantastic to see how the teams have come together to even solve the everyday challenges of deployment speed and what have you. So I'm very, very excited about the work that the two teams have done and what the benefits of these would be for our mutual customers.
There's no doubt it'll help now and in the future. And we know everyone is always looking for what's next. We have a shared vision on quantum AI. SAS has been doing some exciting work in this space, and we see great potential in pairing it with other AI technologies. What are your thoughts on quantum?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty exciting time, right? We've been at this for, I would say, 25 years or so. With a sort of program on quantum, and it's incredible. In fact, it's just been 2 months since we had our big announcement around this physics discovery around Majorana particles and what have you. But I think overall, Jim, to your point, if you put all these things together, right, today for us, the best computing tool we have to simulate nature is high-performance computing, right? So that's what we have. It's at best an approximation. So that's why even the case for quantum, right? Because quantum is when you'll have the real simulation capability of whether it's a molecule, a chemical, what have you, right? Biology being the hardest, but the bottom line is we need quantum computing to get beyond the von Neumann architecture to be able to then really simulate nature. But the interesting thing is we've also found along the way this new tool called AI, which is, I think of it as an emulator, right? So it sort of reduces the search space, helps us, for example, design new molecules for a new material or what have you, by just reducing the search space. So and today we use it in combination with HPC plus AI to be able to accelerate something like computational chemistry. But going forward, whether it's computational chemistry, biology, or what have you, will be truly accelerated with the combination of quantum and AI, and we are very excited to again be working with you alongside to push this frontier forward.
We know that AI holds incredible potential to scale human productivity and that we have a responsibility to build trust into the technology. Tomorrow's leading organizations will be driven by AI, and we are glad to work with our customers and partners like Microsoft to help build this future. Thank you, Satya, for joining us today.
No, thank you so much, and thank you for the partnership. It's really an honor to be with you.
Yeah, I was standing backstage watching that and just thinking about Dr. Goodnight and Satya and just, we're in the presence of visionaries of this industry. It's amazing to hear those guys talk and talk about how together we're changing the world. We're making people more productive, but we're doing it responsibly and ethically with trust. The process of using data, AI, and business rules to accelerate and improve decision-making might not have been called decisioning 50 years ago, but it's something we at SAS have been doing since the beginning. And today, as our digital, we continue to see digital disruption across every culture, every industry, every market. We're helping people just like you make decisions with precision. Let's talk about what that actually looks like in practice. We all know SAS helps banks prevent fraud, meaning we save you money as we analyze and score millions of transactions all over the world every day. We've all gotten that text, right, from your bank. Typically, for me, it's my daughter using my credit card, but maybe it's fraud, maybe it's not. We'll talk about that later. But card issues, payment processors, and banks all use SAS to decide whether it's you or my daughter that is trying to make that purchase. We help hotels every day use their data to forecast demand, manage inventory, dynamically price rooms, to create hospitality experiences not just about profit, but also about the memories that it makes, the loyalty and the meaningful guest experiences that keep them coming back. We're very proud to work in the public sector globally with federal, state, and local agencies to help improve lives. And whether that's providing social workers with the tools to identify at-risk children or developing smart city solutions that predict and mitigate flooding, reducing harm to people, properties, and businesses. In the life sciences industry, SAS is enabling pharmaceutical companies to get important drugs and therapies to market faster and more reliably. In fact, 100% of the Fortune 500 pharma companies use SAS, allowing them to make clinical trials more patient-centric, accessible, and diverse. We know data is essential for every organization, but it needs AI to generate insights, and those insights need decisioning to realize value. Ultimately, it's not the decision, it's the decisions that drive your organizations, not your data. And that's why we obsess over providing you knowledge in the moments that matter, so you can make the right decisions for your organization at the right time. At the center of our obsession is trust. It all begins with trust. We feel very strongly when you see the SAS brand, that's a company you can deal with because you can trust us. And we've been doing it for almost 50 years. Whether it's finances, regulators, public safety, health, or anything else that matters to you, you can't afford to get it wrong. So that means we can't either. Whether we're talking about decisions that are augmented or automated, SAS combines the confidence and innovation to power you to deliver trustworthy, reliable, and accurate results. Because without trust, decisioning is compromised. And I'm going to borrow a quote from our great next speaker. Responsible innovation begins before the first line of code is written. That applies to responsible decision-making too. So much of reaching the right conclusion is about what you do before you even start. Reggie Townsend leads our data ethics practice here at SAS, and it's my pleasure to welcome him to the stage to share more with you about how and why trust is the foundation for decisioning and responsible innovation here at SAS. Welcome, Reggie.
Good morning, SAS Innovate 2025. Woo! Man. Y'all look good. Look real good. You feeling good? Yeah? All right, good. Hey, as I'm looking at, Dr. Goodnight and Satya and Gavin, I'm thinking, wow, we're on the precipice of some real humankind changing stuff. And I know it's easy for us to get caught up in the business and the productivity of it all, but sometimes you just have to rest for a minute with some of these ideas. I mean, quantum, really? Have you really dug into the physics of, it turns everything that we thought we understood upside down. And so some of this stuff is really complicated. So I like to try to keep things simple sometimes, because I can be real simple. So imagine with me, if you would, standing in front of a mirror. Now, we've been talking about technology well into the future for the last day or so, but remember mirrors, something that's very simple, right? Very simple object. But at one point in history, the mirror was considered a revolutionary innovation. The earliest mirrors weren't manufactured like the ones that we probably looked in before we came out, because again, you look really good. The earliest mirrors, they were found in pools of water, or polished obsidian, or burnished copper. These reflections, though, they fundamentally changed how humans understood themselves. Now, today, I like to say we stand before a new kind of mirror. We happen to call it artificial intelligence. And like those first reflective surfaces, AI is changing how we see ourselves and how we envision our future. So, if you will, when I look at data, I don't just see numbers and patterns. I see our recorded existence. Digital footprints preserved in bits and bytes. Every click, every purchase, every search query, they all tell a story about who we are as individuals and as a society. And when AI uses data, what it does is it reflects us back to ourselves. And sometimes it does it with startling clarity. And sometimes it does it with distortion. But here's the thing. AI magnifies our wisdom and our short-sightedness, our brilliance and our biases. So when AI produces a biased result, it's not a technical failure. We should stop saying that. What it's doing is it's showing us the biases and the beneficiaries that we've embedded in our cultural and our organizational practices. Now, let's be clear about this. The question before us isn't whether to use AI. That decision has already been made. But how can we make sure AI helps us experience a better world? I believe that question should inspire AI and every innovation. Because if innovation doesn't make the world better, then kind of what's the point, right? As I like to say, responsible innovation starts with responsible innovators who are in pursuit of a compelling vision for the future, one that increases agency, justice, and well-being for all of us. So, should the norms of the last 100 years be the algorithms that drive the next 100? That's a question for us to answer. Because if we truly believe that we're at the crossroads of a society reshaping technology, then right now is an all-in moment. And while governments have a role to play, governments cannot and should not be solely responsible. We all have choices to make, everyone in this room, academia, civic organizations, individuals, and especially industry. To make the most of this all-in moment, though, we need methods. We need methods for interacting and resolving discrepancies and aligning values. And this is especially true as we now begin to offload decisions and increasingly actions to artificial intelligence. And this, my friends, is exactly why AI governance is so important. Now, in simple terms, AI governance is about having a framework and a tool set to ensure that AI is safe, trustworthy, and ethical, right? That's just kind of the basics of it. And when I talk to executives, those that I talk to, they see AI governance as both a protective hedge for the organization, so if you will, risk management, but they also see it as a catalyst for innovation, very importantly. We're starting to see that show up in the numbers too. You can see it here. McKinsey is showing that of those organizations that have already implemented AI governance, 42% of them report improved business operations, things like greater efficiency and lower costs. 34% are seeing increased customer trust. And a quarter of large enterprises, we're talking, a bunch of companies, are planning to spend somewhere between $10 and $25 million this year on AI-related systems and services. And for the non-accountants in the room, that doesn't just happen in business. People don't just throw money around, right? And it's not all because of regulatory pressure in this case. Here's what I think. I really do think that leaders want to be responsible stewards. And they see responsibility as both a moral and a market imperative. Two things can be true. I believe they recognize the value in AI's ability to predict, to decide, to act. And they also recognize the values embedded in AI, things like what data to use and what outcomes to optimize for, what safeguards to implement, because they recognize that those are human decisions. And for those decisions, they, and I would argue we, bear responsibility. Now, while we commonly think about responsibility in terms of things like ownership and accountability, the beauty of AI governance is a complementary concept I like to call responsibility. See what I did there? So this is what I consider the ability to monitor and respond effectively when systems don't behave as expected. Now, next level responsibility allows us to predict and even simulate harms because those systems can aggregate data, they can orchestrate interactions, and they can monitor performance and transparently report on operations. By the way, that's all the functionality that we've built into SAS Viya. Now, every AI governance journey is different. Why? Because organizations are different. And every good journey deserves a good map. And this is why our AI advisory services team has developed the AI governance map. They also created an interactive version of this where you can answer a couple of questions and you can get personalized maps for your organization along with some recommended next steps. So for those of you who, and by the way, get your phones out because if you want to get started with this, all you got to do is click this QR code, but you can do that after I'm done talking. All eyes on me right now, all right? Now, this particular team, and this is where you're going to really get excited, this particular team helps senior leaders navigate AI governance complexities and accelerate innovation responsibly. And by the way, if you're a SAS customer, they do this absolutely free. Again, that's F-R-E-E free. So this is an opportunity for those of you who would love to learn more about AI governance to do so. Now, yesterday we heard a lot about productivity and efficiency, and understandably so. But the only thing better than a quick decision is a decision that you can trust. And we've been enabling trust with our AI governance portfolio for well over a decade now, including products like SAS Model Manager, Information Governance, and by the way, our award-winning AI governance for banking product. And yes, we have mature offerings in this space, unlike many. And we're continuing to innovate. So soon, we're going to announce a holistic AI governance solution that will aggregate, orchestrate, and monitor AI systems, models, and agents. Private preview for that is later this year. So again, if you're interested, holler at your boy, and we'll be talking in a little bit. Now, as I said earlier, government has a role to play, but government cannot and should not be solely responsible. In industry, what we're seeing now is the need for strong self-governance, which allows us to spot novel, generative opportunities for new lines of business, as an example. And at the same time, they enable us to erect the appropriate guardrails for identifying and avoiding potential harms before they materialize. Now, this is especially true in sectors like healthcare, where AI is an extremely powerful enabler. Her Excellency Mubaraka Ibrahim knows this very, very well. She's a trailblazing visionary leader and digital transformation architect who serves as the Chief AI Officer and CIO for the Emirates Health Services in the United Arab Emirates government. She's led groundbreaking advancements in AI governance and digital health, and I am pleased to say that SAS is a part of their journey as they execute their trustworthy AI strategy. So please join me in welcoming Her Excellency Mubaraka Ibrahim. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
Welcome to SAS Innovate. It is such a privilege and an honor to have you with us. I would love to learn a little more about the work that you're doing and have you share with the folks here a little more about the UAE, and you guys have been at the forefront of AI adoption. A lot of people don't know that. So how has the UAE achieved this level of maturity in AI?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. We in the United Arab Emirates, to be starting, we are actually blessed with visionary leaders. And that by itself made us work in a direction to ensure that we have a better maturity when it comes to the AI. Now, if we talk about how we have invested, I'm just going to share with you a quote by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the President of United Arab Emirates. He said, investing in healthcare is investing in the society's future. That is actually putting us in the lead of how we're going to be utilizing artificial intelligence within our sectors, different sectors we have. So we actually appointed the first AI minister back in 2017.
Oh, wow.
We have launched our UAE strategy for AI 2031. We have established the first AI university, specialized university only for AI, and also the government has appointed 22 chief AI officers in all the sectors, which is actually we will work collaboratively with the AI minister to ensure that we are implementing and deploying AI in a secure manner within our government institutes.
That's awesome. So you all have been taking AI extremely seriously for quite some time, and you've gone so far as to actually install people in government, and I would imagine you have a workforce strategy to support that and all these sorts of things. So, and you didn't just do this starting last year. Like, this has been, you said, since 2017.
2017.
That you all started. This is awesome. So healthcare now is seen as a fundamental part of that strategy. So in healthcare, you know, AI decisions can mean life or death sometimes.
Definitely.
So how is the EHS transforming healthcare delivery as a result of this AI strategy?
Now, if we talk about healthcare, let me give you a brief about Emirates Health Services, just to get everybody in the room to know about us. Emirates Health Services is actually a federal entity, and we're providing services for the Northern Emirates. Now, the Northern Emirates is here just like the States. So you have the States, we have 7 Emirates, and we're providing services for 5 of these Emirates. And we are around 130 plus facilities, and our main role is to be able to provide the best services to them. Emirates Health Services is actually our Director General lead by a visionary, His Excellency Director General Dr. Yusuf Sirkal, whose vision is that we will be among the best destination of providing the best health care. From that, actually, we looked at where we are going to be managing in a better manner our implementation of AI, because we are aware that AI is an altering life force or power. So from our side, what we're looking at is how we can elevate, you know, when we are doing the healthcare and the AI within EHS, we're looking at 3 major things. Elevate the healthcare, but then when it comes onto the implementation. The second thing is build the trust, because when you're doing AI, you need to build the trust between the providers and also the patients. And the third thing is doing that, closing the gap equity, which is making it accessible, utilizing the AI for all the population within the UAE. And that is actually, we've seen currently the result of that. We've seen that we have increased the clinical outcomes. We have reduced the provider burnouts. We have increased our financial efficiencies, and also we have enhanced our patient engagements.
Awesome. So you have put a strategy in place, and now it sounds like you're delivering on that strategy. And I heard terms in there that sound very familiar to us in terms of trust and trying to deliver services in an equitable manner. Can you tell me a little more about how you all are kind of dealing with that from a AI delivery perspective to the patient population? Is there some connection between the use of the technology and the patients themselves?
Yes, definitely. See, when we are building any technology, because what happened in the EHS, we have done AI from a long time. We have robotic surgery, we have robotic pharmacy, we have voice recognition, and we have other AI technologies that has been implemented. In 2019, we have implemented our EHS intelligence platform, where internally we have built around 40+ models where we can do the prediction and analytics about how we take the next steps in doing decisions within the delivery of healthcare. So what we have done, I'm giving you just small examples.
Sure.
We did the ICU mortality risk predictor, and that helps us in the COVID for managing the ICUs. We've done models around disease surveillances. We've done models around, from emergency to inpatient. These models that we have built with our internal staffing and with the machine learning that we built helped us actually to go beyond in providing the best healthcare for our population. Because it's concentrated on the patient, on the heart of any innovation we do. And that is actually the strategy, or I can say the aim at the level of United Arab Emirates, and that is the direction that our leadership is always telling us, make the patient or the customer, because we don't want to say everybody's a
customers,
patient.
right? Yeah,
They are
okay.
customers. Make the customer to be the heart of any innovation.
Well, that is tremendous. I love to see the advancements that you all are making. It's probably, at least in this part of the world, a story that is undertold, right? And I think they're, in the spirit of collaboration and cooperation, we should, in my view, be sharing more of these sorts of use cases and learning from one another. Right now, there is kind of a tendency to, have one part of the world and in some ways dictate almost what AI will be. But what I'm hearing from you is that you all are making some strides that, and thankfully doing some of that with SAS to really make your part of the world a better place to live. So thank you for your effort. Again, I'm honored to have had you here and have an opportunity to meet with you, and I look forward to continuing to work with you.
Thank you very much.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Tell you, man, they got some serious stuff going on. Is the sun coming up or going down right now? Are you on your chosen path, or are you lost in the AI wilderness? 58% of employees are regularly using AI for work, and 60% of them are doing it without company-sanctioned tools. So guess what? You might be further in the wilderness than you already know. Now, admit it or not, your AI success is a direct function of your approach to AI governance. And at SAS, we would like to earn the right to help you with your approach. And let me tell you why that's important to us. Remember that mirror example that I used earlier? When future generations look at that mirror, the reflection that they see starts with us. Our wisdom or our short-sightedness as it relates to establishing a governable AI ecosystem that is designed for trust, that actually accomplishes some of the goals that Her Excellency just outlined. So, can we do this? Let's make sure that they inherit an AI that's actually designed to solve their most pressing problems, that is designed to expand human potential and reflect their highest values. If we won't do it for us ourselves, maybe we can do it for them. So let's guarantee that their AI is optimized for connection over division, and shared prosperity over exclusion. If we can accomplish that, I believe those intelligent decisions would be very wise decisions indeed, and those are decisions that belong to us. So thank you very much, SAS Innovate. But wait, there's more. Before I go, at 10:45, Ali Delone and I will be at the, the spotlight stage doing a sneak peek for the AI governance product that I mentioned earlier. So if anybody is interested in private preview, come chat with us. And then tomorrow, Rashali Savant has a breakout session on model governance. She's given an inside look at using Python models and the model cards that Brian actually highlighted in his piece yesterday. So right now, it is my pleasure to introduce my colleague and friend, Alyssa Farrell, to dig deeper into how ethical AI is reshaping healthcare. Thank you all.
All right, good morning. Well, I don't know about you, but I feel better already about the future of trustworthy AI. Are you with me? Yes? Yeah, we're gonna get there. Let's do this together. Yes. Awesome. Well, you have heard a lot the past couple of days about how AI and technology can make businesses more competitive. And you've probably learned that it's not always that straightforward, right? Businesses have to prove their return on investment. You have to make sure that you have deployed and implemented the right technologies. But if you work in the healthcare and life sciences industry, you're an organization that faces an even greater challenge because the data that you work with is sensitive and personal. You make decisions daily that impact the health outcomes of individuals, all of us here, or sometimes entire patient populations. Plus, you're dealing with that data in a highly regulated environment. You have to find fast, efficient ways to advance the entire health ecosystem, both responsibly and ethically. At SAS, we offer industry-specific solutions that help drive those decisions in healthcare and life sciences. For example, a framework to analyze drug safety and efficacy. Simulation to predict clinical outcomes, whether that's in a clinical trial or in a hospital and health system. And also analysis of the quality and cost of care. So our solutions accelerate analytic discovery with purpose-built AI, insights, and models. All of these things are really important in a technology-based world. But in an AI world, trust is the currency that we trade in when implementing these AI technologies. Trusted decisions lead to confident outcomes. We just heard an amazing perspective on the role that responsible AI plays in the United Arab Emirates, and specifically at Emirates Health Services. But now I'd like to share another story of exciting collaboration between SAS, Erasmus Medical Center, and TU Delft University based in the Netherlands. Working together, these organizations have launched the Responsible and Ethical AI in Healthcare Lab, known as REAL. The mission of REAL is to address the ethical concerns and challenges that occur when implementing AI in healthcare specifically. Remember what Reggie just said a few minutes ago, that responsible innovation begins with responsible innovators? Well, that is exactly what the mission of REAL is. If you're going to make a clinical decision, it must be trusted. So REAL starts with the World Health Organization's ethical principles, and they're translating those into clinical guidelines. As you can imagine, this is really important work for all of us. And it's important work because it continues to evolve as the technology evolves. In fact, REAL has recently launched some research on AI adoption and challenges in leading European hospitals and health systems. So to discuss what they learned, as well as some perspectives on AI-powered decisions, I am pleased to welcome Dr. Michel van Genderen from Erasmus Medical Center. Well, awesome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you so much for being here. It's a long trip, I know. And you are a practicing intensive care physician, so thank you for taking time away for that as well. So I've just described the mission of REAL, but can you tell us more about why this public-private partnership is important, as well as the work with the World Health Organization?
As an ICU physician, I love my job because there's nothing more rewarding than saving a critically ill patient's life and witnessing their return to society. A major challenge of my job is, however, that I have to make high-stakes decisions in a high-pressure environment, something that has become increasingly difficult over the last few years because there's a shortage of healthcare personnel on one side and an increase in healthcare demand on the other. And therefore, investing in data-driven technology and AI-based solutions will definitely help us to solve most of these problems. But now let me be clear. I will only use AI when I'm confident that it is safe, explainable, and trustworthy. Because in my line of work, a decision can be the difference between life and death. And therefore, I strongly believe in these key ethical principles that were set out by the WHO. I also highly endorse the mission of the WHO. It's not about just doing AI, it's about doing it responsibly. And together with the WHO, leading European hospitals, the TU Delft and SAS, we are now working towards redesigning the way we work. We need to reshape these high-level ethical values into more tangible ones, so we can implement them and use them in practical technological solutions, such as in model ops. This will allow me to monitor and access my models, but it also ensures me that they are explainable, transparent, and trustworthy. And this unique public-private partnership we are now having, this helps me to bridge the gap between ethical theory and practical technological solutions. And that is now the standard we are working towards.
Well, it sounds like it's really an important moment to get this right? We're pushing so quickly into AI and technologies. You're making decisions saying, what can I adopt? How can I use that very ethically? So I'm going to ask you a question that you've already written a paper about, so I think you have some clues about where this is going. We want to know more about how is an organization, this is probably applicable across industries, how does an organization know that it's ready for AI?
That's a great question. And now just let me be honest. And this actually accounts for every organization, but definitely for hospitals. If you want to leverage responsible AI, you need to have a certain level of AI maturity. And that's exactly why we initiated the TRAIN initiative. This is a transatlantic collaboration between leading AI hospitals in both the US and in Europe. Because obviously we have regional differences, that is clear. But we must understand that the global challenges to develop and implement responsible AI at the bedside are equal. And I'm very proud to have Microsoft, Duke University, and SAS among partners to establish this network. Because together we have now identified 5 key recommendations to assess the maturity level of an AI hospital. Now, let me briefly highlight 2 of them. First, AI model inventory. Every organization, and thus also every hospital, always needs to know which models are currently in production, but maybe more importantly, what is their intended use. And together with SAS and the WHO, we published on the urgency of establishing such a registry. And that's highly important because such a registry helps us to track model deployment, validate transparency, and share best practices, which in our field is common sense. And that's all essential for trust and accountability, because without trust and without understanding, clinicians will never use it at the bedside when making clinical decisions.
Yep.
A second one is bias assessment. Every doctor, especially I, always wants to know which models are running. And the current model, does it work in this particular setting for this particular patient at this moment? And I actually learned the hard way, and now I'm just being honest. So now let me just give you a quick example. 2 years ago, we developed a model that would help us to determine whether it was safe to discharge a patient after a major oncology surgery. So luckily for us, this was in a highly secure research environment. Because during this phase, there was a hospital IT update, a background data table shifted, and the model performance dropped. It still gave confident recommendations. So luckily for us, again, we were in a research setting and we noticed. But in a real-world setting, without model deployment and without model governance, this would have probably gone unnoticed, something with serious consequences. And this actually reminds me of a report we already published in 2021 by the WHO. It is not about doing AI, it's about doing it responsibly. But to facilitate the responsible deployment of AI, you need to have evaluation and monitoring in place. And that's exactly where SAS ModelOps helps us to meet the standard.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's such an important, we talked a lot about governance the past couple of days. It's so critical to have that in place, especially as AI explosion is happening across all sectors, even within a company itself. So, okay, so you've defined organizational readiness. What is really happening in the field? Are organizations taking steps forward? What has your research discovered in this area?
So we need to take a step back, because before we can truly operationalize and trust AI, you need to have the end users involved. So you need to know what they are in need of, right? So you need actual insights, and often that is lacking. So what we did is we performed a survey in 316 ICU physicians across the largest ICUs in Europe. And these were 27 hospitals. And the results were both encouraging and eye-opening, because more than 90% of the ICU physicians reported that AI-based solutions will not only support them in decreasing their administrative burden, but it will also highly improve the quality of their medical decision-making. But here's what really stood out. These same respondents, only half were familiar with basic performance metrics such as accuracy, specificity, and fairness. And this again reminds me that the work we are doing in our ethical lab to reshape the way we work, but also to redesign values, both ethical ones and technological ones, that they need to be understandable for the end users, in this case, the physicians. And this brings me actually to the next slide, because here's what really stood out. At the same time, these same respondents, and again, 90% reported that having access to a tool that would help them to have insight in model performance and transparency would be more likely to let them adopt AI. It would enhance the feeling that they are in control, and that's actually what we need.
So you've covered some of the data points. They're ready, but they don't fully understand the models. What does it really tell us?
Yeah, it tells us that the AI hesitancy, which we're often talking about, well, that's not so much in ICU physicians. So actually, ICU doctors and all other healthcare professionals are open for it. But they just need the right tools. And solutions like ModelOps will give them what they are waiting for. And now together, we are not only building it for them, because that's what actually always happens, we are now doing it with them.
That's amazing. I'm sure people can resonate with that need to push forward, but also to upskill and help understand AI. So can you tell us, at Erasmus Medical Center, some of the work that you guys are doing in this space?
Yeah, so we are the largest mechanical ventilation expertise center of the Netherlands. And that means that we often being transferred with the sickest patients and the most complex mechanical ventilation patients of the Netherlands. And that means that we have issues with treating them. And if we are now thinking of our mission in redesigning the way we work, a crucial step is to make my fellow peers familiar with working with AI-based solutions. And the first crucial step is to first make them familiar with working with data-driven insights. And that actually was a tough journey, together with Microsoft, SAS, and Nautilus. But we managed, and I'm happy to present it. So we developed and implemented a real-time mechanical ventilation performance dashboard that gave us continuous insights. And the results were very impressive. The number of patients that received optimal mechanical ventilation settings doubled when both nurses and doctors titrated their treatment based on the input of this data. It gave them clear feedback, and they were knowing what to do. And the beauty of it was that it not only happened during day shifts, but also during evening, night, and weekend shifts. And this reminds me that also relatively simple AI-based solutions can already improve the quality of healthcare. And that's very important, and that's our mission.
Awesome. So just as we wrap up, any comments on global collaboration?
Yeah, we need to understand that success of AI in healthcare is not just about developing very complex and difficult models. It's about understanding each other's language. It's about clinical and technological collaboration and partnerships. And I'm very proud that we are now setting the standard. And we are so unique that in the midst of next year, we will publish a report together with the WHO on how to establish such a collaboration, so to improve the clinical adoption and trustworthiness of AI in healthcare. So I'll remind the book, and I'm happy to share our experiences.
Okay, we'll have a book signing next year. Dr. Michel, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you.
Wow, and if you work in the space, please connect, get involved in this initiative that goes on around the world. So now, as we transition to the next topic on the agenda, you might think that healthcare decisioning and marketing decisioning are completely different things. And for the most part, you might be right, except for the fact that both industries find the most success when they turn data into action, whether that benefits me as a patient or as a consumer. So to learn more about how SAS helps leading marketing organizations deliver exceptional consumer experiences, please welcome our expert in customer intelligence, Kate Parker.
Thank you, Alyssa, and welcome, everyone. Leading brands must be on a journey to create meaningful, authentic, personalized customer experiences. This is how you compete in the market. And each of these experiences, or moments, is the outcome of a decision that's been thoughtfully orchestrated by marketers, their cross-functional partners, and the technology that they've chosen. Your most powerful asset is your data. And SAS Customer Intelligence Solutions provide you with the ability to connect directly to your data environment and turn that data into action. Because data is the foundation for decisions that are made to positively impact the customer experience. And if you haven't heard it so far in this conference, bad data can lead to bad AI, and bad AI can lead to poor decisions. And nobody has time for poor decisions. Today, I'd like to welcome Bennett Fox-Glassman, Senior Vice President, Customer Journey at Macy's, to discuss how customer obsession fuels their drive for customer loyalty and growth, and how SAS is partnering with them on their decisioning journey. But first, let's take a quick look at some of what Macy's has been up to. Bennett, welcome to the stage.
Kate, thank you. Thank you for having me. Morning, everyone.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you here today. SAS is a longtime partner of Macy's, and we're really excited to be on this journey with you. Okay, let's dive in. Customer obsession, Macy's North Star. Talk a little bit about what your journey towards customer obsession looks like, where you started on this journey, and a little bit about where you're headed.
Sure. So one of the things that I love about working at Macy's is when people hear you work at Macy's, right, they'll come up to me and say, hey, Bennett, you know what? I love the Macy's Day Parade. I woke up, how many of you that's a relevant to, right?
Myself included.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Like we hear about these traditions. You wake up Thanksgiving morning and you spend it with your family and you're all watching the Macy's Day Parade together. And the funny part is, I just called it twice the Macy's Day Parade. And that's what people say to me. But let's be really clear. It's Thanksgiving Day. So Macy's as a brand we've sort of co-opted Thanksgiving, right? Which is, like, if we think about what we want to mean to people and how important we want to be in the lives of our customers, it's an amazing aspiration for us, and we strive every day to live up to that. And so as we think about the translation of that sort of brand aspiration into what it means for our day-to-day activities, what we're really trying to do is rewire the way we think and work across the organization so that everything we're doing is focused on improving the customer's experience in a way that drives engagement, deeper loyalty, retention, and ultimately that's what leads to profitable, sustainable growth for the company. But it's through that lens of the customer first and foremost. And so we do that through lots of programs we have, such as our Star Rewards program, our loyalty program, which as of a couple years ago was penetrating over 70% of our sales, as well as our efforts in areas like personalization.
Yep. And so there's an evolution underway around your communication strategy. You know, talk a little bit about how that's changing and how it's coming to life in the eyes of your customers.
Yeah, personalization. I'm in our stores all the time, Kate,
Yep.
and nobody ever comes up to me and says, hey, I'd like more personalization.
Correct, yep.
Right, that's a term we use as data-driven individuals, as marketers. But customers do come and they ask for context and relevance, right? When you are supposed to know them or you know them well, they want to feel that way about it. And so similarly, if you think about walking into one of our stores, and if you came in and I said to you, hi, it's so great to see you, welcome in today, is there anything I can help you with? If I don't know you, that's a good interaction,
yeah.
Right? If you're my best friend or my mom, that's really weird, right? And so I think of it as getting that balance right? When you know your customers, if you show it and they feel that way, that's what, good interaction and customer experience should be and what we're striving for. And so as we think about the translation of that to our communications and the journey you alluded to us being on, we're shifting the balance. So on the one hand, we still send a lot of emails, for instance, where it's Thursday today and we want to talk about dresses, so you get the dress email. But we're balancing that and doing a tremendous amount more of what we think of as triggered or contextually relevant communication, where maybe you came in recently and you bought beauty. Is that relatable,
Yes,
Kate?
very much so,
Okay,
yes.
good. Kate's a good customer.
Yes.
Maybe you came in and bought beauty and we gave you some samples. And so really what we should do next is talk to you about how do you use them, right? Tell you some more about the brand, help you with the regimen, and how do you complete that experience. And then maybe we try and upsell you on the larger sides of it ultimately. But it's much more relevance in the communication we deliver to a customer. And obviously, as we do more and more of that, the decisioning that has to take place, right? And the level of arbitration and what should I send you when in order to really get that message right becomes more and more complex. And importantly, the ability to do it, not just optimizing today for conversion or sales, but thinking about the long-term value of the customer. And so this is one of the areas where with SAS, we're really excited about the work we're doing with CI360 and where we're headed together in terms of decisioning that really leads to those long-term outcomes for our business.
Yes, and as someone who really appreciates tips and tricks, keep that coming when it comes to my Get Ready With Me. So as a partner, I've had a long time, we've had the opportunity to sit down together with you and your teams and see how you all work together across your businesses and your technology teams to align to a set of common goals. Now, I'm sure that didn't happen overnight. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the evolution, the people, the process, the technologies, and all the changes that have gone underway?
Sure. For us, putting the customer at the center is the easy way to make that happen. And so when it comes to people and the alignment of our teams, that is our singular goal. And even when you look at the way the bonus company within our bonus structure, within our company is structured, we are all incented on the same three things: sales, profit, and customer experience, and measured exactly the same way. And it's just one example of the extent we go to in order to make sure we are all aiming to improve the customer's experience. And you see that when you sit, for example, with my team who owns the business and our technology partners. It's not that they're responsible for delivering the technology and then hand it off and we're responsible for the business outcomes. We're all there to drive that customer experience, and we work in that way. And so that's kind of on the people side. If I think a little bit to your question about the process and technology side, we are, I'm sure like many of you, very much on this journey. Right? It has to begin. You talked at the beginning about bad data leads to bad decisions, and so beginning with those investments that can be slow and painful but are so necessary in foundational data and architecture. But then I can tell you from experience, it's exciting when you get to the part where you can really be driving business outcomes, and those seeds you've planted start bearing fruit. And the advice I might give you all is just to be extraordinarily use case driven. So for us, that's really focusing on what matters to our customer and their experience and prioritizing our technology and data investments against that. But I think that's applicable for any business.
Well, it was really impressive to see and watch your team work together, so looking forward to seeing more of that. So let's talk about a theme that's been common today: the responsible use of customer data, AI, and of course, the trust that you need to establish with your customers. How does this tie into Macy's strategy?
Brand trust is so important to all of us in anything we do. And so for us, that's built every single day, right? If I deliver your package on time or not, if the price is clear to you or not. So we look to build that brand trust at every moment, and then I think that extends to how we think about data and decisioning and other experiences you may have with us. So it's something we take extremely seriously, and it's important to us to keep earning that trust every single day. In terms of the modeling and AI, Brian was up here yesterday. I'm sure many of you heard talking about Gen AI and agentic AI, and somebody's still going to have to teach me a lot more about quantum AI.
Yeah. You're not
good
alone.
to have the primer from Satya. That's a good professor for this, Dr. Goodnight. We, like many, are experimenting. We've been using AI, obviously, for many years in areas like pricing and supply chain, but the evolution in these new technologies coming on is still somewhere where we're learning our way through it. So I'll give you a little example. I was sharing this with somebody the other night. I send out an email most weeks sort of recapping our business. How did it perform? What are our opportunities? And so I thought, I'll be clever a few weeks ago, and I used one of our agentic tools to say, can you write this performance business recap for me? And at the end, I had to tell the agent, right, that was really, 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 really terrible. It was just so bad.
Harkening back to yesterday, yes.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. And so it just it reminds me that on the one hand, it is totally inevitable to me how much these technologies are going to transform our businesses, our customers' experiences, and the way we work. And on the other hand, how much work we still have to go to really understand exactly how we're going to use them and play in. And so at Macy's, that means we're using them more internally than externally at the moment, but I expect that roadmap will keep accelerating quickly.
Well, Bennett, thank you so much for joining us. We truly value our partnership, and I look forward to seeing what's next with Macy's.
Thank you, Kate.
Thank you. Okay. So it was great to hear from Macy's about the journey they're on to drive loyalty within their customer base. And we're working with many brands like Macy's to help them future-proof their customer engagement efforts. So let's talk about some of what we have coming to support marketers in their AI and decisioning journeys. Never have I ever had one of my customers say to me, Kate, I have more analytical resources than I know what to do with. In fact, as Brian Harris alluded to yesterday, many data scientists are still spending 80% of their time preparing data and only 20% of their time performing the analysis. SAS is building cross-industry solutions to accelerate the creation of marketing insights and the ability to activate those insights. But I do recognize that not everybody in this room is a marketer. So how does this apply to the rest of the organization? Well, providing marketers with the solutions that they need to leverage to lighten the lift of data and IT resources drives tremendous efficiencies across the organization and ultimately will help improve your bottom line. So let's dive into some of what we have coming. First, let's talk about marketing analytics, a solution designed to help marketers build and deploy AI capabilities with a recipe-based approach. Behind the scenes, data admins have created recipes or templates that map to the appropriate data sources and perform any of the additional data mapping that's required. This, again, creates those templates for marketers to further refine. As a marketer going into marketing analytics, I can go into a project, and a project enables me to add specific business logic to satisfy a particular use case. As you can see here, I have multiple projects ready for me to leverage, including a next best action. But in this particular instance, I want to predict churn for my gold card customers. Within the project, I can specify the time frame for which I want to focus on the churn over the next 6 months, and I want to focus on my gold card customers, my high-value customers. I can also set additional project parameters and alerts, and I can see that I'm leveraging the recipe, my likelihood to churn off my credit card. Now, when it comes to optimizing my model, I can leverage many methods to optimize, but in this particular instance, I've chosen profitability, to maximize on profitability. I have the ability to answer other questions to, again, further refine. When it comes to training the model, I have visibility into key information like the thresholds for churners versus non-churners, other key summary data, and I can view key attributes that are associated to customers who are likely to churn, giving me insight into how I can better engage with these customers moving forward. This is not a black box approach. At the bottom, my next steps tell me I'm clearly able to proceed with this model. I can then further refine eligibility, set a schedule for this model, and determine where I want to deploy it, be it in CI 360, in a decision flow, or in an external solution as required. But with everything that you've heard today, we all understand that a data scientist is not only responsible for building models, they're also responsible for governing them. And within this solution, we're enabling marketers to take on these tasks with a guided approach that includes built-in recommendations that monitor for health, provide thresholds for performance and fairness, and ultimately help ensure that the methods that we're using are trustworthy and effective for everyone. This definitely ties back to everything that you've been hearing from everyone like Reggie and all the themes from yesterday. Now that my model's ready to deploy, I'm ready to activate it in a decision flow. As I navigate to marketing decisioning, I'm going to take a quick look at my AI-driven insights that provide me with visibility into how I'm performing against what I originally forecast. As you can see here, I can see my messages that are driving the highest level of conversion, but I also have some discovered insights that help provide me with very specific recommendations for what I can update to help improve the outcome. In this instance, as I click into Adjust Criteria to make changes to my eligibility criteria for this particular decision flow, I'm taken directly to my decision flow. Here, I can make the appropriate updates to my eligibility criteria for the offers. But let's take a quick step back and start from the beginning with our guided approach. As a marketer, I have the ability to set which channels should be used for triggering the decision flow. I can quickly and easily add additional channels as required. Then I have the ability to set my eligibility rules. This is the basic criteria for whether or not a decision flow should be triggered. In this instance, I've simply set it to my existing customers and those who have opted into marketing. Next, it comes to action assignment or offer assignment. These are the offers that will be presented to the end customer. As a bank, I have multiple product lines with offers that I want to get in front of my customers. My eligibility criteria provides me the ability to limit that criteria at the specific offer grouping, and I can further refine this in arbitration. Next, I have the ability to set my contact policy rules. These are purely based on your organization's requirements, setting things like limits around channels, limits around certain individuals, such as my high net worth individuals. Again, personally, able to be personalized based on your organization. And then finally, when it comes to arbitration, I have multiple methods to arbitrate this decision flow. But as you can see here, I'm using a custom formula where I'm calculating based on the weighting, the message value, and the model that I previously defined in marketing analytics. As I choose to then deploy this model, I have the ability to set additional attributes to track to gain visibility into things like geographic location and age for my customers that will help provide me with visibility into how to better engage with them moving forward. Now my model is ready to deploy. Marketing AI and marketing decisioning provide you with the power of typically complex AI and decisioning solutions in a business-forward approach, giving you the insights and recommendations that you need to meet your customers in their moments of need, to outperform the competition and maximize revenue. And with that, I welcome Gavin Day back to the stage.
All right, thanks, Kate, Alyssa, Reggie, and our guests for showing us what decisioning in action looks like and how SAS is helping Emirates Health and Erasmus Medical Center and Macy's achieve tangible results. You know, I was sitting backstage thinking we're solving some of the world's problems, our hardest problems, and, you know, helping save lives. And all the technology in the world can't stop me from coming out here in my opening with the collar of my shirt flipped up. So anyway, I need an AI mirror, apparently. So where do we go from here with decisioning? You know, as we saw yesterday with Brian and the team on stage, agentic AI is the next frontier. It sits at the intersection of AI, automation, and human insight, and is redefining how our businesses are going to operate, how we make decisions, and how we interact with technology. But for agentic AI to happen responsibly and effectively, a solid technology framework has to be in place. We all know that LLM-powered agents can hallucinate, they can lack consistency, or they can just flat out ignore business logic. They don't understand your data, your rules, and your processes. And without a decisioning framework, their output is unpredictable, unexplainable, and ultimately unusable in your business. You need agents that can make smart, explainable, trusted decisions, whether they're working independently or with your team. And that's exactly what SAS brings in our approach. To demonstrate how SAS Intelligent Decisioning allows you to easily orchestrate agents, please join me in welcoming Deanna Barris to the stage.
As Brian shared yesterday, SAS offers a proven decisioning framework, one that combines both generative and deterministic methods, and it layers that with data governance and guardrails, as well as your established business rules. To demonstrate this, today we'll explore a use case that focuses on helping a financial advisor, Sarah, retain customers and make personalized offers without incurring financial risk on her organization. We'll use an orchestration agent that decides which other intelligent agents to engage based on the chat it has with a human financial advisor. Some agents act autonomously, like the one that retrieves, summarizes, and escalates complaints, while others advise the human on how to make the decision, such as the churn agent or the recommender agent. Now, imagine Sarah working in her familiar portfolio management tool. Here, she interacts with the AI agent using natural language. This is not just a chatbot. This is an AI agent with 360 full view of customer insights. Within seconds, it retrieves, summarizes, and escalates complaints. It scores churn risk, and then it synthesizes personalized offers and next best action recommendations for Sarah. We all know, traditionally, this level of insight is very time-consuming. It requires much manual intervention. And now it all happens live on screen with regulatory compliance, with decisions powered by SAS. So how do you get there? Whether your teams are business or programming savvy, SAS Intelligent Decisioning offers a streamlined decisioning framework, one that has a low-code UI and intuitive tools that help your teams fast-track the build of AI agents. The brain of our agentic operation is the orchestration agent that validates and sanitizes inputs, making sure that inputs are complete and that we can mask PII data. Then it uses the right LLM prompt taken from a governed library to route requests to those specialized agents that collaborate in helping Sarah reach her goals. At the end, it validates the outputs and it stores the outcomes so that you can leverage them for future decisions or auditing purposes. Let's click into one of the specialized agents. The complaints agent helps us summarize and escalate complaints. With business rules, it helps us know when to invoke the LLM and when to rely on deterministic approaches. In certain cases, it might make sense to pause the LLM analysis. For example, if you had a high-value customer, and in others, when the LLM is used, we attach guardrails through business rules using low code that ensure we highlight those outcomes that drift from the expected classifications. With human review at essential junctions, we are able to include business logic that keeps you within business and regulatory boundaries. At SAS, trust is not just a buzzword. Every decision is logged, auditable, and available for tracking. You are able to stress test your agents against dozens of scenarios, making sure you validate their performance as well as the path the data takes through the decision gates, ensuring full trustworthiness and confidence before the agents make it into production and go live. Why is this special? We give you the existing tools to build, govern, and validate AI-driven decisions with confidence. And before an agent takes me off stage, I'm going to pass it back to Gavin. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Deanna. What an awesome demo there of that we don't have to sacrifice trustworthiness to take advantage of innovation. Agentic AI is embedded in SAS decisioning, intelligent decisioning, as you just saw, and it's available right now. It's not coming, and it's here to help you make the right decisions at the right time. We have the right tools at SAS to help you stay on the cutting edge without cutting back on explainability, reliability, or responsibility. To see more of this in action, take some time to visit the Innovation Hub right across the way there later today. All right, we covered a lot today, so let me try to summarize where we are, and then we'll review what we've seen. We all live in the era of a lot of complexity and a lot of uncertainty. No doubt, just like all of us, you have a lot on your plates to deal with on a day-to-day basis. You and your organizations have no room for error. You need to make quick, accurate, and transparent decisions every step of the way. That's where SAS comes in. No matter your industry, no matter your geography or your organizational maturity, we have you covered across platform, solutions, and advisory. We're with you at every step, and we're here to guide you into the AI, or agentic AI future. It's a continuation of the mission that we've been on, and it's at our core for the last 50 years. And with partners like Microsoft, as you saw, on our side, we're here to be with you at your side, to power your decisions and provide you knowledge in the moments that matter. Thank you for an awesome morning, SAS Innovate. If you're joining us online, that's all for this morning's program. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you soon.